My name is Cody Kraus, and I'm a real estate broker owner that's obsessed with everything real estate. Investing, building, selling, developing, farming, you name it. I've been doing this since I was 18 years old, and I've learned a ton through trial and error, and I've met some of the coolest people ever. This is a show where I invite these people on to talk about their experiences and mine, plus everything else real estate. Let's go. All right. Well, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Everything Real Estate Show. Today, I have with me Vanessa Oake as our guest. For anybody that doesn't know Vanessa, who is Vanessa?
Hi there. Thanks for having me, Cody.
Yeah, of course.
Vanessa Oake. I'm a broker owner of Century 21 United Realty in Peterborough, Ontario. This was a company my father started in well, technically 78, but I think 73 is when he had his first brokerage opened. And I took over in 2016. So, born and raised in Peterborough. I did live in Toronto for about 12 years, which was great. I was thinking about getting into real estate right out of university, but something was drawing me to go see what it was like to live in the big city because Peterborough's a small-ish town, right? And
Yep.
so yeah, I did that, and it was great. I had a great career with National Brochures, and then moved back here in 2008 and got into the business in 2013.
Cool. And for reference, how big is Peterborough, like size of the population?
I think we're about 85,000 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I was in Peterborough this summer because we were
Oh.
traveling to Bancroft. First time I've ever been up there. It was awesome.
Hmm.
Not the first time I've been in Peterborough. My sister actually moved to Bethany probably about 3, 4 years ago now, which is part of the Kawarthas. And as I'm
Yeah.
learning in this drive, the Kawarthas is now like one municipality that was a whole bunch of different townships where the whole county kind of amalgamated into one centralized government for the county, if I
Hmm.
understand it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now people say they're from the Kawarthas, not necessarily like a lot of people know the town Peterborough, but they might not know Lindsay or Bethany or a lot of these other smaller towns.
Yeah. City of Peterborough is still separate, and then the area you're talking about is comprised of a lot of different municipalities. Yeah.
Okay. Now, when I was driving from Peterborough, so basically the end of the 407 and then going up to Bancroft, it was basically all Century 21 signs all the way along the
Yeah.
town. And it
Thank
started
you.
with you guys in Peterborough, but then headed up. I don't know if it was east or west or north from there. I don't know my geography outside of Essex County very well, but
Yeah.
it seemed like you guys have pretty good market share in that area.
Yeah, we do for sure. And then you probably were seeing Century 21 granite signs once the further
Yep.
north you got. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it obviously got more and more cottagey the further we went towards Bancroft. But I mean, Peterborough is not cottagey at all, right? It's a city, it's got its own industry, it's got people that live there year round. But then once you get into some of those smaller surrounding towns, it does seem like there's a lot of hunting and camping sites.
Yeah, that's what one of the things that makes this area really special. Like we have agents that live here that actually live on a lake and they're 15 minutes from town, like just in Bridgenorth or Ennismore, for example, on Chemung Lake. And then where you were, that it is further, but there's beautiful cottage country with so many lakes in our area. So
And
yeah.
hills. We don't have hills where I live.
Oh, okay.
So that was the other thing I love too. Yeah.
Yeah, no mountains, but nice hills. Rolling hills are beautiful in the countryside for sure.
And lots of cows. Yeah.
Yep.
So, moved to Toronto. What did you miss about Toronto, or sorry, about Peterborough, when you went to Toronto?
I think like my family and friends, but
Yeah.
I really was engrossed in my career and loving that, and I just jumped with 2 feet in, but I did miss when I would come home for the weekends and my old high school friends would be getting together regularly, and I was missing that and that community feel of Peterborough for sure. I did always miss that. I don't think I ever saw myself staying in Toronto forever.
Yeah. So you
Hmm.
said that you moved back to Peterborough in '08.
Yeah, my husband is in the car business, and his family had an opportunity here. My dad was a businessman in town, and he had heard about this dealership that was potentially going to sell, and he connected Ainsley, my husband's family, and the past owner, the previous owner.
Yep.
And after a year and a half of negotiations, we were able to move back. So at that
Oh,
time,
cool.
we had two kids, and I was pregnant with our third. we were coming back to Peterborough a lot. My parents live on a farm, and we were spending a lot of time there on the weekends visiting, and we really wanted this community for our family growing up. So we were lucky that we were able to move back here for business reasons.
Yeah, and I'm sure help with the kids too, especially you're pregnant with
Yes.
your third and we're buying a business and all
Yeah,
that good.
yeah.
Yeah, cool. So in '08, we obviously had a worldwide financial recession. No, I'm from Windsor, Essex area, so we were like substantially affected by that.
Mhm.
We were having an office meeting this week, and we were kind of talking about, trends of home prices in our area versus GTA and how the rhetoric is very different between the two areas. And I was kind of talking to some of our veteran agents, and I was like, you know what, if we went back in time to 2008, 2009, 2010, and I told you guys that we were going to have the current supply that we do and the average sale price, you'd think that I was nuts and that I was making it up. Because I remember in 2011, we had listings where people were stealing the plumbing out of our listings to scrap the copper, and the average home was on the month or it was on the market like 6 months to
Yeah.
8 months. And
Hmm.
it was really tough here in Windsor, Essex. Now, was it the same in Peterborough? You guys are a long ways from the border.
Yeah. I don't think it was quite that bad. And I wasn't selling then, but I know that listings to carry a listing for 6 months was not unheard of. For sure. So yeah, it was a slower market. There was an effect here. And as far as us getting into the car business, and so we moved here, they took over that dealership February 1st, and then I'm not sure, it was soon after that that all this started to happen, and it was kind of terrifying, but
It's a great
it
time to
was
buy a
good.
business. You're probably going, what have we done? We just
Yeah.
left great careers
Yeah.
and jobs in the city and bought a
But
business during a financial crisis.
I think it was felt scarier than it actually ended up
Yeah,
being. Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
help establish some resilience.
Mhm.
Good. And so then you got involved in the real estate industry not too long after. I imagine you took some time with the kiddos, if you were having your third at the time and trying to figure out the car industry and all that kind of stuff, but came to work with dad in real estate.
Yeah, so I don't think after my second child was born, I decided to stop working, and I was a stay-at-home mom, which was really great. And then with the third one coming, and then when he arrived, I thought I'm probably not going to go back to work at any point. Like I just thought I'd just be a stay-at-home mom. And then once our youngest was getting close to getting going to school full time, and I was feeling like, okay, I think I need to get out of the house. So yeah, I got my license then. So that was in 2013, and started working here as a sales rep with no intentions of getting into ownership at all. In fact, a couple years into me selling, Dad approached me about buying the business. And as much as I wanted to, I thought, I don't think that's the right thing for my family right now. Like Ainsley's just getting this other business going. It's full on, and then for me to take that on, I don't think I can. So it honestly took me 2 or 3 months to decide. And then I had to tell my dad no. And then another year passed, and he hadn't sold. And I was just feeling like kids are that much older, a little bit more independent. I thought I don't want to pass this up. So I did it. Yeah.
Cool. And how is being in ownership different to being in sales, or are you still doing sales? And I
Yeah.
guess, is it what you thought it was going to be?
Um, Well, I don't sell anymore. Dad had me join in on the management team meetings like the last year while I was selling. So I had a feel for what that was going to be like and working with the management team and the things they dealt with. So I was familiar with what it was going to be about, I think, and my roles in past jobs. I was in the management on the management side of things with national grocers and Loblaw companies. So that experience has helped me for sure in this role. Um, yeah, so I think I kind of knew what I was getting into, but you can't really know until you're right into it. And
Yep.
yeah, it's quite different. I mean, if you're looking at the recruiting side of my role, I do the recruiting here, and it's like a salesperson trying to get business. You're prospecting all the time. That side's the same, and but managing. We have over 100 agents. That's different for sure. That's a big different part of the role than sales was. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And
Mhm.
so over 100 people, and are you guys running out of one office? Do you have multiple locations, or what does that look like?
This Peterborough is our main hub. Where most actually all but one of our admin staff are here. And we do have a Lakefield office. It's like a shared space. We don't have an admin out there, but we have agents that use that office regularly. And we also have an office in Campbellford that we opened up a couple of years ago, and more than a couple of years ago, I guess. Maybe it was 2022. And we do have one admin there, but with Skyslope, she does the listings for the entire brokerage from there.
Okay.
We just opened up an office in Apsley, actually. And that's in cottage country, near where you were in Bancroft, by about 20 minutes. Have you ever been to Apsley?
No,
Yeah, so that's cottage area. That's one of the prime cottage areas for sure. And I'd been thinking about getting an office up there just because if you want to grow your brokerage, it's hard to get people to join your team when they don't have an office space to work out of.
for sure.
So that we've got that location, and we recently just bought a Century 21 in Coburg. The Lieberon family has been in the business since '93,
Okay.
and Gary was looking to retire and approached me. Him and Dad had a close relationship, and through Century 21, so we have Coburg now as well.
Oh, awesome. So things are growing.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, again, like your bread and butter is Peterborough, but you're expanding to these cottage areas a little bit. So I guess probably my next question is, if I look at the timing of when my sister and brother-in-law moved to Kawarthas from GTA, it was during that COVID craziness when the prices, if you had single family anywhere in the GTA, you were kind of looking at it going, I'd probably be stupid if I didn't sell this thing now and go somewhere else. They sold a little brick bungalow in Whitby and upgraded to 98 acres with a house and a barn for not that much more, by going an
Um,
hour and a half outside of the city. Now, what did your population do in Peterborough? I guess is the first question, but then the cottage country is a totally different effect, I would imagine, for Peterborough too, right? Because you were getting people that were buying Airbnbs and cottages, not living there year round. So what did COVID do to the population in your area, the house prices in your area, and did the people stay? I guess that's probably the question.
Mhm. Yeah, there was an influx for sure. I don't know as far as numbers go if how it affected the population of Peterborough. Um, a lot of people were coming to our area, but a lot of them were going to cottage country and working from the lake and
Yep.
remote. Even people that were in town decided to move to the lake and because they could and they were at home so much. So yeah, as far as numbers go, I don't know, but there was definitely an influx from GTA. More GTA real estate agents trading up this way for sure, but more people moving to our area. And sorry about that.
It's
I
okay.
always predicted that or thought once COVID got under control, employers were going to be calling their employees back to work. And I think it took longer than I expected it to, but we are starting to see that now. More people are having to move back, but they're getting called back. But I don't know, that doesn't look so great with trying to sell here and move into the GTA. It doesn't make sense financially for a lot of people.
No, that's going to be tough. And then the other thing too is like, what if you uprooted your life and you have kids and you put them in different schools and all that
Exactly.
kind of stuff and you get called back? So I've heard it called quiet firing. You know how quiet quitting was a thing where people would take two jobs full time that were online during COVID. And then once people realized that their productivity was just like nowhere, they would get
Yeah.
fired. And they were like, oh, great. Well, I was trying to quit anyways, but I was going to take the paycheck while I could get it. They're calling it quiet
Mhm.
firing now, where the employers are calling everybody back into the office, but people might have moved not even just out of town, like some people might have moved out of the province. And
Mhm.
do they love or need the job enough to stay with that employer, or will they stay in, you know, cottage country or go back to work in Toronto? And like you said, if they cashed out on the property at the time, you're gonna be hard pressed to probably get a two-bed condo downtown for what you might have
Yeah.
had a subdivision home for.
Yeah, I don't envy people in that situation. I mean, and traffic's already worse getting into the GTA
Yeah.
because more people are called back to work. So dealing with traffic again, like my commute to work, I live on a farm. I'm just outside of the city. We just moved there about a year and a half ago, and I can be to work in 15 minutes, but like in Toronto, that just doesn't happen. So
Might
yeah,
take you 15 minutes to go around the block.
yeah. And you asked about pricing. I think our peak pricing was March 2022. We hit 850,000 average price
Yeah.
point here, which
And what
is
would that look like now for context?
about 600. Sometimes depending on the month, we're a bit lower than that.
Okay.
Hmm.
So you guys spiked more than we did, and that makes sense because you're closer to the GTA.
Yeah.
Our March 2022 pricing, our average sale price hit like 730, which we couldn't believe. We're
Mhm.
about 570 right now. So
Yeah.
you said you were 8 or 850 and now you're about 600?
Yes, it depends on the area where you're looking, but yeah, I just looked like City of Peterborough's around 600 for November. Yeah,
That's a huge difference. I
it
was just
is.
having a conversation with a mortgage broker, and I mentioned to him that I was at a conference in the GTA 2 weeks ago, and a lot of people were kind of expecting that we'd be in really rough shape in Windsor. We obviously trade with the US a lot, so there was a study done about the most affected cities in Canada from the tariffs. So Windsor was like number three most affected.
Mhm.
We also have the highest unemployment right now. We're 10.8, so just shy of
Oh, really?
11%. And oddly, and I think it's because we had a lower starting point, our average sale price right now is about 3 or 4% higher than it was in 2021. And if I
Oh,
say that to someone from the GTA, they're like, that's nuts. And so I was having the conversation with his mortgage broker, and his question was right. He said, well, how much of that is condos versus single family? Like, because in our market, we're mostly just single family and semi-detached housing, and more single family substantially than semi-detached. But you go to Toronto and it's been condo fever for the last 15 years.
yeah. Hmm. Yeah, we don't
So
have condos
uh,
either.
yeah, and so if you separate the two asset classes, they don't have the same issue with single family and semis as they do condos. So when they say like we have a super high inventory and it's a buyer's market, I do think that that's mostly in condos based on the
Mhm.
conversations I have with realtors from the GTA.
Yeah.
Um, how is it with you guys right now?
Yeah, our inventory levels are higher than they have been. I looked back as far as 2012 recently, and that's back then our inventory levels were higher than they are now, but you know, they are higher. Yeah, I think they'd be twice as high if you go back that far. So, which is odd. We scratched our heads when we looked back at that as a management team, that inventory levels were actually that high because our inventory levels now compared to the last 5 years are quite high.
Are you
Yes,
guys like balanced territory right now, like somewhere around
I'd,
five or six?
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah. I heard someone say this week that we always talk about balanced inventory, but it's not a real thing. It's either a buyer's market or a seller's market, and the balanced inventory is just kind of the buffer from one to the other. And it
Yeah,
kind of makes sense
I think
because,
that people would get, like, based on behavior, that it's a buyer's market.
yeah.
I'm sure you guys are the same.
Yeah, buyers are waiting on the sidelines right now. I think they're waiting for sentiment to change.
Mhm.
It doesn't even necessarily need to be that like real things change. They just want stability in the news cycle.
Yeah.
Uh, and like we're transitioning right now. So we've been running, you know, around 3 months of inventory for a couple of years now. We were less than two in the peak of COVID, but now all of a sudden we're in the mid fives. And it really feels like it's a buyer's market, but statistically speaking, it's a balanced market. And so what this guy said about there really isn't a balanced market. It's just the period between the transition. I'm like,
Mhm.
that makes a lot of sense. And same thing when it was the opposite, when we were in a seller's market transitioning to a buyer's market, that balanced market felt really different than it does today. Because all of a
Mhm.
sudden prices were trending upwards and number of units trading were trending upwards, where our number of sales for the last 2 months has been quite low. Like we've had over less than 400 homes trade hands for the last 2 months consecutively in our board,
Okay.
um, where normally we're seeing over 500 or around 500.
And year to date, where would you be for units sold year over year?
We're down. it wasn't a great year last year, so it really depends what year you peg it against.
Yeah.
But probably down, I was just looking at the stats. I want to say it's around 5 or 6% on number of units.
Yeah. We're up about 4% year
Oh,
to date
good. Okay.
as a region, not CLAR, but we're part of CLAR, um, Central Lakes Association of Realtors, but Peterborough region, we're up 4%, which surprises me, you know.
And is that because you had a bad November 2024, or is that because this November was really good?
Um, it's because I'm talking year to date. So if
Oh,
you,
sorry, year to date. Okay.
yeah, but we are, I believe I just checked, we are up year to date, or sorry, we're up in this November versus last November in units sold, but as a region.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, with your satellite offices that are more in cottage country, what's going on with Airbnbs up there? So, I guess just to set the conversation in our area here, it seems like one municipality sets a short-term rental bylaw, so then the next one to them says that, oh, well, now we need to do that too. And there
Yeah.
was a lot of people that didn't understand the HST implications around Airbnbs.
Okay.
So it was like a hot asset class. Everybody needs to buy an Airbnb and have a cottage. Now all of
Mhm.
a sudden we're realizing that, well, HST could actually be payable on the purchase price because now it's considered a commercial asset instead of residential because of the use. Now they're getting bylawed by municipalities. You have to buy
Yeah.
licenses, all that kind of stuff. Are similar things happening in your area?
Yeah, in certain parts, but and I thought like for me that would scare me even if in our region right now there are no bylaws, they could come about at any time. So for me that would make me nervous about an Airbnb purchase.
Yeah.
But we have a few agents that here that deal strictly, not strictly, but they do a lot of Airbnb sales and there's still a lot of investors out there willing to do it. So I don't have true exact numbers, but I think there's still a market for it, and yeah, they're still happening.
And I mean, if they have a model where they're running multiple, then they have an HST registrant number anyways. The HST is less of a problem. It then
Mhm.
just becomes on disposition and all that kind of stuff too.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What's the investing landscape look like for you guys in Peterborough? Like, for example, here, really haven't seen a whole lot of property investing, like duplex owners or basement suites aren't really a thing in our area. A lot of people were buying, when I say pre-construction, it's not pre-construction condos. They were buying pre-construction single-family homes and semis.
Mhm.
Um, 2021, 2022, values started dipping. It seems like all the investors have left.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Similar where you guys are?
Yeah, through COVID, there were so many investors coming into our marketplace. We're in a university and college town too, right? We have Trent University here
Okay.
and Fleming College, so there are a lot of student rentals on top of, just regular investment property rentals. So yeah, it was going crazy during COVID, and there are a few neighborhoods, new neighborhoods where investors were buying properties that like pre-con, I guess you call it, and a lot of the properties that are owned in these neighborhoods are all owned by investors, but the prices have dropped and interest rates are up. So there's going to be a change in hands for sure. And yeah, less investors coming to our area or less investors willing to make the numbers work with
Yeah.
interest rates and the rental market isn't as tight as it was as well.
And then huge decrease in international students this year and
Yes.
last year too, right?
We had kids coming into our lobby like desperate for housing. They were coming here from other countries, and I don't know if they were just assuming there would be the schools weren't making sure that there would be enough housing for the people they were bringing in, so they were packing into these rental units, and there was a real desperation, and we're not seeing that now,
Yeah, a
obviously.
lot of compromised living scenarios, I feel like too.
Yeah,
Like it wasn't a good thing. And no wonder
right.
enrollment's down. I know part of that's the immigration policy, but also I think they were sold a bad package of goods they got here and it wasn't what they expected, especially if you don't have somewhere to live while you're going to school too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess switch gears a little bit to management. So you said 2016 into ownership and you've been in management since now, so you're coming up on your 10 years next year. What are
Yeah.
some lessons that you've owned now as a manager of a real estate brokerage over the last almost decade?
Well, I'm still grappling with this. I'm a people pleaser, and it's either a strength or a weakness depending on how you look at it. And I want to make sure everyone's happy all
Yeah,
the time, but
that's easy.
it's hard to do that. That's easy.
Yeah, so easy. Yeah.
How do you make that happen? Yeah. So anyway, I've realized that that's a challenge for me because I want to make sure, like every decision I make, nobody's going to be upset with it. So, and that's hard, not
You
possible.
can't. And you know what? If you are trying to make everybody happy and the decision you make does make everyone happy, chances are you're not going to be happy. So it's probably at your own
Yeah.
expense in that regard.
Yep.
Um, I feel like every year I have like a saying that applies to my year. And
Hmm.
2025, the saying was, uh, the longer you wait to have a hard conversation, the harder it gets to have.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times that applied to conversations with everything from my family inside of our own house to friends to my church to employees at work to coworkers at work, all that kind of stuff. And I'm hoping it's a better theme as far as the saying goes for next year.
Hmm.
But I actually do see it as a positive. If something needs to be said and you love someone enough, you'll tell them, even if it's hard to say, and it's because you love them and you respect them, not because you want to
Yeah.
be the bearer of bad news.
Hmm.
But yeah, I feel like that was the theme for our year in 2025. Did you have anything similar or maybe something more uppity than I had as far as a
Um,
management saying for this year?
well, this year was supposed to be my year of just focusing on the business we have and really tuning things up and making things more efficient. And these opportunities that I'd been working on before over the last few years came to fruition. We've also acquired a commercial real estate company this year.
Oh,
So,
cool.
and this Coburg company. So, and then opening the Apsley office. So there's been a lot of growth and it's all really good, but I'm more focused now on what's my word of next year, and it's clear or clarity. I want to be clear, and that does apply to what you're saying as far as having those difficult conversations and being really clear in my communication, as difficult as it's going to be to say certain things, like
Yeah.
and everywhere, not just here. Um, so yeah, clarity. I think if you're clear on where you're headed, less things are going to sway you out of your way, right? And so that's my focus for next year.
So clarity or it's what's another way to say it? Uh, proportionate, proportionate attentiveness or something. Anyways, like these are the things that really matter. And if we do anything that takes away from these, then it's not proportionately what this
Yeah.
deserves. This is really the thing that we want to build.
Yeah, and
So
I struggle with that too because it's like I need to put blinders on because I'm always open to different ideas and opportunities and
yeah.
I need to just try to rein that in this year. So we'll see how I do.
Yeah, I totally get that. And I thought my saying for this year was going to be discernment,
Mhm.
making the right decision based on all the information that's available and things like that, and make the tough decisions. But it ended up being about tough conversations, and I can totally relate to growth mode. Like we've been in growth mode since I took over the management of our office 2 years ago. So we
Mhm.
were
Yeah.
18 agents 2 years ago, and so we've just been focused on growth and that's it. And we have a lot of great systems in place and the right people and all that kind of stuff. But when you're only focused on growth, it's so easy to let other things get out of control, whether
Yes.
that's spending too much time at this office and not enough time at that one, or we focus too much on recruiting and not enough on productivity. And so I feel like it's my year this year to discern my time and my effort. And
Mhm.
instead of letting it get spread across so many different baskets, to really focus on the productivity and efficiency inside of what we already have.
Yeah.
But then there we go, change. Well, another opportunity may present itself, and then all of a sudden that all goes out the window.
Yeah.
But that's why I feel like the word needs to be discernment, is to, I guess, properly decide where to step and even if something looks really luring, to be okay with saying no to it and just focusing on what we have too.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we can hold each other accountable to that this
That
year.
sounds good. And my manager is probably like, okay, Cody, I got you saying that on tape. So now that you said that,
Yeah.
you're not going to open another office in another town.
Yeah.
But
How
yeah,
many agents do you have now?
we're We're in the 50s right now, so I
Oh,
think we're
that's
about
really well.
52, 53 right now.
Mhm.
And I mean, we're a smaller area here, and we're not a new company, but we're newer into Windsor because it was mostly just out of the county before. So we did open a city office just over a year ago now.
Mhm.
But we're really not focused on agent count. So we have some big offices here with, 150, 200 agents, and that's not really what we're looking for. We really want to focus on having productive agents.
Good.
And so we're not so concerned about the number. We care more about how effective and efficient those agents are that we have.
So how do you make that happen? Like if within your pool of agents, if somebody's not at a certain level of production, do you manage that? Is that okay or?
Yeah, tough conversations need to be had, and so performance improvement plan. And if you're not going to fall in line with that, if you're not going to play a part of the culture that we have, then you might be a better fit somewhere else. And like, so for example, we're a company that doesn't charge monthly fees. It's only commission splits. So our company doesn't make any revenue if you don't make any revenue. And
Mm,
so that's a pretty easy conversation to have, where if you don't sell any houses, it's not a great look for our culture and our team. We're focused on in-person learning and education in our culture. And
okay.
I heard a really good saying last year or 2 years ago. I don't know if you know Jeff Glover, but he does a bunch of real estate training in the States. And he said there's quantity in the quality, but there's quality in the quantity, but the quantity can drive out the quality. So in other words, you have to talk to everybody to find out who the really good people are, but you can't just bring in anybody because if you bring in people that don't fit your culture, they'll drive out the ones who were the base of it.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting.
And so
Mm,
again, that falls in line with the word discernment. So be discerning as to who's a good fit as far as your culture. And it's not
mm,
easy because it's hard to say no when someone says that, they're potentially going to bring you money and come into your company and all that kind of stuff. But everybody
mm.
you have with your logo on their business card is a reflection of you to some extent also.
Yeah.
So you always got to keep that in mind.
Do you have a coach that you use or?
Yep. I coach with Richard Robbins. So Dana Richard was my coach for probably the last 10 or 12 years. And more recently, they switched me to a broker coach, but also done a bunch of training with Chris Leader, like Chris
Yeah.
Leader a lot. So I did the
Mhm.
CMA, Canadian Management Academy with him last year. And then we had him out to Kingsville for 6 weeks for some brokerage training last year. And then I also like Jeff Glover a lot too.
Okay.
Yeah. How about yourself?
Nobody right now. I've used Wayne Einhorn like for
Okay.
brokerage coaching. Um, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Well, highly recommend all three of those companies. They've done a great job.
Hmm.
Um, I think the more the better. So I'd like to be a
Yeah.
lifelong student, but at some point you got to go to work too. You can't just sit around
Yeah.
and learn on webinars all day either.
And you still sell, right?
No, I haven't for 2 years now.
You don't.
Miss it like crazy, but I got to give that time to my family right now. And then if I'm properly managing, then I don't think I should be out competing with my agents. I think I should be working on trying to build their business.
Yeah, good.
So it's tough because there's a lot of people that you built relationships with I
Hmm.
did it for around 12 years. And you want to, again, be a people pleaser. I'm much like you in that regard. But
Hmm.
if you really want to, I guess, be effective and efficient in what you're doing, sometimes you have to say no to some things, even if it's difficult.
Yeah.
And even if it's turning away revenue too, which is really difficult as a business owner.
Hmm. Absolutely.
But I've been asking you a lot of questions. Anything that you want to talk about at all, Vanessa? Anything that you think my audience could take away from our chat? It's a lot of realtors. It's some people that are just interested in the real estate industry or
Hmm.
a look into the window of business owners and their lives and their minds. Floor is yours if there's anything you want to share, any questions you want to ask.
Hmm. Um, I just feel that we're really needing to get back to in person and, less, we're talking over Zoom right now, but
That's because we live like 6 hours away, not because we wouldn't
exactly.
be together if we could be. Yeah.
Yeah, we're really pushing here, in-person contact and networking. So we recently in September we were offering our sales meetings. We do them weekly, a hybrid version. So you could either come into the Peterborough office and be with us live, or you could tune in. And the attendance was really dwindling. So we made the hard decision to just go to in-person meetings. And we have seen a huge uptick in attendance. But now with Coburg opening up and Apsley, now I'm feeling like torn. But
Yep.
anyway, that's just something for me to work through. But I think I hate to refer back to COVID, but we've already talked about it a few times. I think there's a bit of a hangover effect with some people, and they just get into their routines and they're not maybe coming out to the events as much and not coming into the office as much. And I think there's a lot of benefit in being in the office, going to networking events and talking to people face to face. So that's a big
I
push.
couldn't agree more. So we're similar in that regard where we do in-office training. So we have a Windsor office. We're there every Monday, and then between two of our county offices, we flip-flop on Wednesdays from one to the other. And then we're actually old school in that we still do caravan tours. So our office still goes out and looks at each other's listings as a group.
Yeah, we do that too.
I love it. I think that's awesome. And
Yep.
like as efficient as some things can be, like e-signatures and Zoom calls when an in-person meeting's not available, all that kind of stuff too. We deal with humans, and you hear
Yeah.
about AI and how people think it's going to take over certain industries, and some it may.
Hmm.
I don't think it's ever going to replace us. The best saying I've heard about it is, you're not going to get replaced by AI, you're going to get replaced by somebody who uses
Yeah.
AI. And
Yeah.
so it's a tool, but it's not going to be the business. And when you're dealing in such a like a high emotional industry. Like we're dealing with people that are crying at the dining room table, right? Whether
Mhm.
it's good or bad tears. It could be, I can't believe it. We tried for years and we couldn't get pregnant, and now we're pregnant, so we got to sell the condo, or I can't believe he left me, or whatever, right? So we're dealing with these high emotional scenarios all the time, and there's just some things that aren't going to transfer through a screen or with non-human intelligence, and so there always is going to be a human element that's necessary. And the further we get away from that, the more I think we're going to put ourselves out of a job and turn it into a transactional relationship instead of like a personal relationship.
Mhm.
Um, so I think we should take advantage of the efficiencies, but there's a proverb that says, um, as iron sharpens iron, one man sharpens another, right? And
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with that more, because the more that I'm around other people, especially that are more intelligent or that have things that I could learn from. By the way, most people are way more intelligent than me. So any room I put myself in, I can learn something from somebody. But
Uh-huh.
the more that we're actually with other people and being vulnerable and building a relationship and all that kind of stuff, the
Mhm.
more we're gonna pick up on traits and qualities and knowledge and wisdom that they have, that we're going to be able to put to work in our own lives. And if we're not with them for a short period of time, not a big deal. But over a long period of time, we're just going to become way less effective, I believe.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, there's a lot you pick up when you're in-person communication versus texting or emails, and you
Yeah.
can misconstrue what someone's trying to say too. And I think they've proven scientifically that um, it, being in community, being around people, is so important to your health and your well-being, your
Oh,
mental
certainly.
health.
Yep.
you know. So
Yep.
with
Yeah.
COVID, so
No
many
one's
people were isolated, right? And they just declined, their physical health declined because of it.
between that and anxiety, but yeah, nobody's supposed to be an island, and it's really hard to grow a deep relationship without being with someone physically. And there's stats about how much I don't know if the right word is body language, but comes through in a text or an email versus a video versus in person.
Hmm.
And like we've had to have meetings about this at our office. Like, guys, stop texting. Like you miss one comma or don't include an emoji, and all of a sudden somebody thinks that you're mad at them or you're being
Yeah.
sarcastic. Like
Hmm.
pick up the phone, have a
Yeah.
conversation, let your tone come through. If you're joking, let them know that you're joking. They might think that you're being sarcastic or a smartass or something like that. Like, pick up the phone. We work with real humans, have a real conversation, or better yet, if you can, go visit them, talk through the issue, and we'll get to the bottom of it.
Hmm.
My response often when I was dealing with difficult agents was to get sarcastic and do it over the phone or by text, and every single time made the scenario a lot worse. Rather
Right.
than if I had just gone there to be with them. Someone told me about a study where if you're upset with somebody, but you're sitting across from them, if all of a sudden you guys start eating together, they have like percentages as to how much lighter the mood gets if all of a sudden you're eating. Like if you're eating out of the same bowl, like whether it's chips or bread dipping in olive oil or something like that. And it's bizarre. It's just because of the more time you spend with someone, the
Yeah.
deeper the relationship grows. And then same thing if it's deep conversation versus surface level, how's the weather? Or
Yeah.
how's your family doing? It
Mhm.
changes things. It's the
So
human element.
interesting. Yeah. It's
So.
important. Mhm.
Anyways, thanks so much for joining me on this podcast, Vanessa. If anybody wants to cover, I guess follow along with Century 21 United, it sounds like a pretty amazing company. You guys have over 100 agents now. You've been growing it for 9 years. You got your 10-year anniversary coming up next year. Where would people follow along with your company? I know you're running a podcast now. Actually, I should have asked you about your podcast. How's your podcast going?
It's going well. It's called From Here, and that means a lot of things. It can mean the people I've had on the podcast so far are from our region, but it's highlighting people in our region and where are they headed from here, when we're meeting with them. Um, and I'm just really intrigued and interested with people that have found success, and it doesn't mean financial success. It doesn't mean they're growing this large company. They've found something that they love to do and they're passionate about it and they're fulfilling that need to do that thing. So one of the people we had on was Ed Arnold, and he's like a local historian. He was the editor of our local paper for, I think it was 40 years. I'm forgetting now. I think it was 40 years. And he knows everything about every historical building in our area, and he's big into the sports community. And he's written, I think it's 25 books. So it's just really
Oh,
interesting
wow.
person. So he was on it. One of our agents has been here for 47 years, recently retired, and he was another one. Yeah, and Rich Robbins.
Love
So
it.
he started his career in Peterborough.
He did
So
before he
yeah,
opened his office in Markham, right?
exactly. So it was amazing to have him on. So
Oh,
anyway,
cool. So from here geographically, but also from here at this point, we're starting from here, right?
exactly. And I love it. I don't, like I said to you earlier, I won't watch them or listen to them. But I need to get there. But it's just great to have conversations with people. You kind of forget that there's a camera watching.
For sure. So it's called From Here and it's on
It's
Apple,
on the
Spotify,
Spotify
YouTube.
app. Yeah.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then century21united.ca if we wanted to take a look at your
Yeah.
brokerage.
Or goldpost.com, but yeah,
Yeah.
century21united.ca, and we're on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
Mhm.
thanks so much for your time today. All the best with you and your family and your farm that you're living on now,
You
and
too.
everything that's happening in the company with the expansion up into cottage territory and all that good stuff. So
Thank
thanks
you.
so much.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Take care.
Thanks for listening to the show, folks. Please keep in mind that this show is not offering legal, financial, or accounting advice, but rather opinions and experiences in the world of real estate from the host and the guests. If you're enjoying the show, please rate, review, and share with your friends and colleagues. And if you think that there's someone that needs to be on this show, please feel free to connect them with me. Or if there's a topic that should be discussed, feel free to let me know. Thank you so much, and bye for now.